From the Performance Lab of California, and we have another new breakdown for you today. It's going to be a comparison video here on Mo Farah here on the left and Christian Coleman here on the right. Mo Farah is one of the best long distance kind of marathon runners in the world, and Christian Coleman is one of the best sprinters in the world. And the reason I decided to do a comparison of them because they're both the same height. They're both 5'9". Right, and I just wanted to see from a comparison perspective what we're looking at from a foot contact timing situation, and also a transition time or time spent off the ground swing phase situation. So, just give kind of a comparison. Same height, different type of runners, obviously, and for Mo Farah here on the left, it's going to be more of like the end part of the run. So this is where he's really going at it, really trying to push hard. But at the same time, he's just ran 5,000 meters. This one he broke 13 minutes in the 5,000 meters, and so kind of gives some ideas of what part of the race that he's running, and obviously for different parts of the race there's going to be different contact times and different swing phases times depending on where they're at. But I still think it gives a cool comparison, just because this is when Mo Farah is going to be running really, really hard, and this is obviously when Christian Coleman is going to be running really hard. So first thing you can see on the bottom here, it's a 0 timestamp on each side, just because this is when they both started hitting the ground on the left side, and I want to get a full swing phase of each. And so we could see Christian Coleman here, as soon as he touches the ground, boom, at 0, and then he's off he's not necessarily off the ground right here, but he's about to be off the ground in about 0.07 seconds, which I think is absolutely crazy how fast he's able to get off the ground. And then we can compare that to Mo Farah, who's probably off the ground at about 0.13. Now I see a lot of people that have more of contact time of about 0.13, who obviously we do a lot more stuff with sprinters that are actually sprinters, so they spend 0.13 on the ground as sprinters, where Christian Coleman's spending 0.07. Now somebody like Usain Bolt is going to spend a lot more time on the ground, closer to something like 0.11 or something like that. And he could be as low as 0.09, even Usain Bolt. But point being is there's a big difference between these top elite sprinters and how much time they're spending on the ground in comparison to the marathon runners. All right, so we're going to go 0.13, and then to the time he touches the ground again, 0.59. So that's about a 0.46 swing phase, right? So the amount of time his foot was off the ground was 0.46, and that's on the left one. We'll go to the right and see how much time he spent on the right. 0.31 is when he lands, pushes off, 0.43, so that one's about a 0.12. We'll go 0.9, let's say. And 0.42. So this one's a little bit faster. 0.42. He's a little bit faster with his right leg. Obviously, he's trying to gain more momentum as he goes. So we could say he's probably around, typically somewhere between 0.43 to about 0.46 in the swing phase, and then is probably pretty consistent around the 0.13 to 0.11 in terms of foot contact time. All right, how much time he's spending on the ground. I'm going to just use those numbers. Whoops, I wanted to say 6 here. I'll just clear it. So 0.43 to 0.46 is probably around what his swing phase is, and then about 0.11 to 0.13 is probably around what his contact time is, the time that he spent on the ground. And we said Christian Coleman was at 0.07 here, and then he cycles all the way through, lands at 0.40. So he's at a 0.33 swing phase there. And we'll look at the right leg real quick. You can see he really turns out a lot with that right leg. He lands at 0.20. We'll say 0.09. You say, well, he's off at 2.9 there. Then comes back around at 0.60. So he's at 0.31. So he's probably about I guess we could probably do that the other way. 0.31 there, and then 0.07 to 0.09 in terms of foot contact time. So really, really different in terms of, you know, what they're doing from a sprinting standpoint and a foot contact time perspective. So, you know, part of the reason their contact time is going to be a lot different is just because of how much momentum and force they're getting as their legs are swinging through. So that ends up having a big impact on your ability to spend the least amount of time on the ground. But let's go a little bit into their actual swing phase and how they're pushing off the ground, the difference between how they're pushing off the ground, right? So we can see a big difference here in what's happening with Christian Coleman, where when he's driving off that back leg, he's immediately driving that leg through, where we could see Mo Farah really allows himself to get a lot more extension back behind him, right? So Christian Coleman's not going to let that leg get so far back behind him. He's going to push off, and is immediately after pushing off, drive that heel up to his butt and bend that knee to then bring the knee forward, where Mo Farah is going to really push off, get full extension, and then bend the knee and let the foot come all the way up behind him. There, boom, and then start driving the knee forward, right? So very, very different in the actual movement there, and he's going to get a lot more vertical press there to make it so he's probably covering a lot more distance on each one of his strides in comparison to Christian Coleman, where he's probably not covering as much distance on his strides, right? And so you can see pushing off there, boom, with Christian Coleman, drives that leg through, really gets a lot of extension with his foot out in front of him, right? So you can see that Mo Farah does that a little bit, gets a little bit of extension, then drives back underneath. But Christian Coleman gets a lot of extension, then drives that foot back underneath and lands with his foot a little bit more underneath him in a little bit more of an upright position, where Mo Farah is going to land and be a little bit more bent over and be landing a little bit more like this. So he's going to be working a little bit more in this type of plane, where Christian Coleman is really not going too much vertical. He's staying pretty much at the same height with the head position. He's trying to maximize his ability to probably stay within that same height as he's running, right? He doesn't want to end up going too low, doesn't want to end up going too high, just because that puts a lot of force on the knees, and when you're sprinting, that could end up causing some injuries over a period of time, and it does even with long distance runners as well. That's something they have to deal with, is, you know, shin splints, and really, you know, when it comes to long distance running, it's a lot about how well you could stay healthy, and that's because of how much upward and downward force that they're getting as they're running. Right, and so a lot more distance on each one of the steps, but a lot faster steps that we're seeing within Christian Coleman, and really seeing how that is being done and being achieved, I think will be beneficial. And then for some of you guys out there, some of you sprinters, you know, when you're watching yourself at your top end speed, and you could just use an iPhone for some of this stuff to be able to see, you know, where you're at with your foot contact time, right? You can see Christian Coleman, he's 5'9", 0.07, 0.09, and then transition time spent off the ground, 0.31 to 0.33, and just give some comparisons. And then from there, you know, you want to figure out what you could do to maximize it and the efficiency of that. And that's why we do our actual breakdowns, is because the big thing is because you want to be able to see the difference between, you know, what you're doing and what some of these top guys are doing, and how you could actually correct it, and really see from a biomechanic perspective and from a running perspective, what are those differences? What needs to be changed? How can you be more efficient? How can you be more effective? And I think by being able to get a breakdown, you could really see that, and then really get very, very isolated on, you know, what it is that you need to work on, laser focused on what you need to work on. So highly recommend you guys getting a breakdown if you're watching this and this information seems like it would be very valuable to you. Definitely would recommend you guys getting that. And also check out our free 40-yard dash program. I have the link in the bio below, as well as our speed breakdown. All right. As always, thanks for watching these videos, and we'll talk soon.